It's an incredible tour de force of a short story. It's very Joycean. It's in the style of James Joyce. It's very musical. It's surrealistic. It's basically a guy sitting, middle-aged man, sitting in the Pilot Tavern in Yorkville, which is still there. I think the decor hasn't changed very much from the time he was sitting there in 1970. And it's an interesting short story because we get the inner thoughts. We get the thoughts, and of course they're inner, of this middle-aged man who is trying to cope with the advent of second-wave feminism. He doesn't know quite what to do anymore about trying to approach someone, although he's had several relationships. And while he's sitting in this tavern, in the Pilot, thinking about the changes happening in society, the fact that women are freer, are more liberated, and so on. And he's still kind of like an old-fashioned Playboy reading kind of guy, and is trying to figure things out for himself. And at the same time, he's also reminiscing about a woman he knew in Georgia and somebody else he really wants to know in Toronto, and maybe something will happen now that she's divorced, but he's really not sure about what it means for a woman to be divorced, and is she really free and single again or not? He's really confused. And so the story is just beautiful in laying out that kind of psychological difficulty and confusion for the gentleman. And I've always loved it. I've written 2 different versions of that story, and I decided I would turn a couple of those versions into songs, or ask composers to turn them into songs. And so I went to Nevawn Patrick, and I see, unfortunately, his surname is missing from the page, but should be there. It's Patrick, Nevawn Patrick. He's from Guyana originally, now lives in Nova Scotia, was in the Canadian Armed Forces, where he achieved the rank of sergeant. He was in the Air Force, and he was in the Stadacona Band in Halifax, and it was in that position that he composed a song, a melody called For My Country. And it's a great piece of fanfare. It's instrumental, and for that he received the Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Medal for service to the arts, and also a Canadian Armed Forces commemorative medal for the music that he produced. Since then, since 2023, fall 2022, I approached Nevawn to begin to compose songs for me, and he's composed an incredible number of songs. And if you're in Halifax on February 14th, you will hear some more of Nevawn's compositions. And for Valentine's Day, for Liberty to Love, Halifax, 5 poets breaking into song number 20. Liberty to Love. So anyway, I should read the poem, and I will read the poem, but I'm also going to read a poem from this book, Black, and I'm holding it up, so I got copies for sale, only $20. I can make change. For anybody who might be interested, I'm going to choose a short poem. Although everything in this book is just simply excellent. I'm not going to kid you about that. It's just simply excellent. And it's full of photographs, including there are nude photographs, but not of me, unfortunately. But anyway, I'm going to read this poem. This is a poem I wrote when I was 17 years old. So nobody get mad at me for reading this poem. I wrote it when I was 17. I cannot be blamed for anything that this poem says. The poem is called Lust Tussle. So remember, 17 years old, that's what's on my mind. Here it is. I want a young girl who does everything. All the devious things a diva should do. Lavishly filthy-ish, drastically gymnastic, a jolting, pretty lightning bolt of a girl. Let her tumble like a star against velvet black, her morals crumbling mine all night. One appealing bell sets my bells appealing. I'll melt into her like a second skin. Yep, it's important to be verily extra explicit. Aged men doze, young ladies wet dream. Aged men doze, young ladies wet dream. Let's chase sex, hide and seeking, winking under sheets. All dirt is delicious if drizzled with honey. All dirt is delicious dazzle with honey. $20 phone. Hail Clarke is what Nevawn Patrick decided to title it. Hail Clarke. And it begins with a part that's simply read in terms of the song. If narration is always confession, know that evil is the erection of nature over reason. But most mother rapists have elementary personalities, evil. Now, came back my sabbatical down the U.S. South, a black tangle of nooses and nicks, a space of hovel dwellers dispossessed of dreams of so-called Negroes sustained by red clay and collard green cheapness among ravages of weeds, beetles, plows gone to dust and rust in a landscape of vultures, human-chewed soil, haphazard imprisonment or chain gang employment, honky-tonk fascists, a conspiracy of piggy cops and pork-chop-fatted politicos. That's the Trump White House right there. Honky-tonk fascists, a conspiracy of piggy cops and pork-chop-fatted politicos, a site where any hapless black had to squat in a cell before returning to unyielding poverty. All their ambition ruptured, or their balls literally cut off, or their brains shot out, or heads bashed in. But here was this luscious chocolate Dixie bonbon up in T.O. from the South, who was no milky and sipped Desdemona, no weather-beaten blue rinse bourgeoise. Even if she was a brow-beaten ex-inmate, but right there under the overhead blackness of the velvet ceiling, designed for black light and present like a Christmas present, with all of her bucks of bill, whose foundation seemed pharmaceutical, so that now I concede the bestial presumption to whoop on all fours, to treat the Afro-American, the newfangled slang, to such stealth engineering, her spinal cord would sing like a violin. Hail Clarke!
Thank you, George. And the perfect one to end on. Because after this one, I don't think I can sing anything more. It's fabulous. If narration is always confession, know that evil is the erection of nature over reason. But most mother rapists have elementary personalities. Evil. Now came back my sabbatical down the U.S. South, a black tangle of nooses and necks, a space of hovel dwellers dispossessed of dreams, of so-called Negroes sustained by red clay and collard green cheapness, among ravages of weeds, beetles, plows gone dust to rust, in a landscape of vultures, human-chewed soil, haphazard imprisonment, or chain gang employment, honky-tonk fascists, a conspiracy of piggy cops and pork chops, fatted politicos. A site where any helpless black had to squat in a cell before returning to unyielded poverty. All their ambition ruptured, all their balls literally cut off, all their brains shot out or heads bashed in. But here was this luscious chocolate dusty bonbon up in T.O. from the South, who was no milky, insipid Desdemona, no weather-beaten blue rinse bourgeois, even if she was a brow-beaten ex-mate. But right there under the overhead blackness of red velvet ceiling designed for black light and present like a Christmas present, with with all of her buxom build, whose foundation seemed pharmaceutical, so that now I conceived the bestial presumption to foop on all fours, to treat the Afro-American, the newfound slang, to start stout engineering. Her spinal cord would sing like a violin. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Hail Clarke!
Thank you so much. Thank you, Joy.